All right. So you've kindly offered to do a case study for us. So yeah, just Linky, just tell me a little bit about Credo Growth and what you do.
So we a growth consultancy. It's kind of the trendy word that's going these days is the growth consultancy. But we focus on three different, almost like uh, themes, if I can call it that. The one is your people growth, which is really focusing on leadership and culture, and making sure that the people in the organization are set up for success for high performance. Then we have the strategic thinking and execution planning support. And that's really where we take people through the scaling up methodology or the EOS methodology, where it really is about supporting them to identify their strategy, whether it's a BAG, a 3-year or a 1-year strategy, but then followed by a 12-month execution plan. And then the third leg is where we focus on sales consulting. We really unpack the sales process with your sales manager, your sales team, act as consultants to provide some guidance in terms of where you can make certain tweaks, followed then by sales training. So that's in a nutshell where we focus on the people, the business, and the sales growth in order for the business to actually grow.
Got you. Cool. Thanks. And before you reached out to Outsell, what was your client acquisition strategy and how was it working?
It was a bit of a shotgun approach because everyone needs all the type of business growth, people growth, and sales growth that you need. So we didn't focus on a specific niche or a specific target. The main area was kind of word of mouth with especially my network. And yeah, we had our website, we had random LinkedIn awareness kind of not campaigns, even just awareness posts, but it was very much reliant on my network. And then every now and then there would be a website inquiry because we would run a very small pay-per-click campaign. But yeah, whoever wants it, because we believed that obviously everyone needs our services, because if you're in business, you've got people, and then your issues start.
But there wasn't a particular clear strategy in terms of who you were going after and what channels you were using. And were these channels aligned? Were they working together, or was it just trying different things at different times, different people?
No, it wasn't. There wasn't really alignment at all. The pay-per-click campaign, we kind of looked at what is our best or easiest thing to offer in terms of the people growth, which was insights discovery, which is personality profiling, and potentially also a team development. And that's kind of the main thing that we focused on. And then LinkedIn, I would make a post here and there about something that's happening. So, and it wasn't aimed at any specific industry even. It was really just the one hand didn't really know what the other hand do or did. We went on gut feeling that worked for that specific month or that specific quarter. It's basically what it was. And time available. So that was basically it.
Cool. And I've got kind of a list of just bullet point questions here, which we'll put in. If I understand it correctly, you've got offices in Cape Town, London, and the United States?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Your average kind of length of engagement with a client is 1 to 2 years?
So here's the other thing. Normally what it was kind of a once-off engagement, and then we have quite a few recurring clients that we don't really lose clients because they really love working with us, but it was always these ad hoc kind of engagements, and with some clients going up to 6 months. But now, since we've kind of changed around how we deliver and the impact in terms of how we deliver, thanks to you, that has changed to minimum of 6-month client engagement, sometimes 12 months, all the way to sometimes 18 months. There's the odd 3-month engagement that we have, because that's also very kind of team specific, especially if it's a team development scenario, and that's an outlier. but majority, it goes from 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depending on what the request is and what the core issue is that we are working with the client.
One of the benefits of working with Outsell and implementing a good outbound sales process isn't just the generating more business, it's the type of business that you get in, and therefore that can also have an impact on the customer lifetime value and the length of client engagement. Cool, thank you. So sorry, last thing, what was the length of your sales? So if I understand it, it's a founder-led sales business at the moment. You're doing the sales, founder-led sales.
Pretty much. Pretty much me and Justin at the moment, yeah. Who's also shareholder.
Okay.
But founder-led sales.
Founder-led sales. Okay, cool. And the length of your sales cycle? So I mean, I know it's hard, but let's say from initial inquiry
I guess if I kind of take it on my gut feel, it's probably majority of the time it's probably around a month or two. If it is with people that have the budget, they've got it allocated, they know that they need to do something. If we are not speaking to decision makers, then it becomes longer, because then it's first a presentation that they need to do, and then you can go up to 3 or 4 months even with the sales cycle. But what's interesting, because of the type of work that we do, I, for example, hold very strong relationships with specific people, and then I hold that relationship for about 2 years, then only people go, oh, so by the way, we need your services. But if it's from their initial engagement, I would say, I mean, we are now able to turn around quite quickly, which is let's call it 2 to 3 months.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. All right. Why did you reach out to Outsell?
Because all the pressure for sales was on me. It was my sales, my pipeline was very sporadic. So sometimes there were truckloads of potentials in the pipeline, and then other times there were hardly anything. I also wanted to make sure that I can reach out more into the US and not only in South Africa. I mean, the list is quite endless. I belong to a very specific network, and I only knew how to leverage that network. I didn't really know. In fact, I was very clueless in terms of what outbound sales is, and I was very reliant on people reaching out to me instead of me putting myself out there and kind of create a bit more brand awareness. I was very shy when it came to wanting to put the business out in public. If that makes sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, and there's some fantastic bullet points there. Okay, cool, awesome. So let's talk about, once you engaged with Outsell, what were the and I'll give you some pointers, and then perhaps if these are relevant to you, you can talk through them. So engaging with Outsell, there's first we like to start off with who is your ICP, and we get really niche on that. And so there's a lot of conversations around that, and then we try and understand what are their pain points, and then we work on positioning your brand. And that can be everything from looking at your content plan, your LinkedIn presence, your website. So I think that that's what we spend a lot of time talking about and working on. So that's kind of more the strategic side of things. And then we started thinking about, well, what are the tactics to implement? So we decided to focus on manufacturing in the United States. And we have put together a plan that leverages associations, websites, LinkedIn, PR, that's going to target those. So obviously that's me talking. So I'm now going to say to you, so Linky, why don't you talk us through what working with Outsell was like and what the solutions were that came into place?
Well, I think the first thing is when Outsell asked, who's your client? Like everyone. So that was the first step, is identify what I then came to know as the ICP, ideal customer profile, which I never knew what that was. And that was really to narrow it down from me saying that we agnostic service provider to purely tech, and then from there following to actually going purely manufacturing, especially in the US. And then even narrowing it even further down around what type of size of manufacturing clients are we looking at? What is the pain points of the different people within the manufacturing plant or within the business? So what will be the pain points be of the CEO? What will be the pain points be of the HR department? So it was really narrowing it down, going from a business that is agnostic all the way down to really focusing on one industry alone. And that was quite scary, but we did it. It was good. And then I think also what we did is, like I said earlier, everything was very much disjointed, if that's a word, in terms of how we do our marketing. I'm a keynote speaker, so I would also just go to whoever is willing to take a keynote speaker. So we started looking at my personal LinkedIn. First, we decided who's going to be the face of Credo, which was also my challenging point. Thanks, Richard. But is to really identify, okay, who's going to be the face of Credo, who's going to run with the brand, and then looking at, and that was me, and then looking at what does my LinkedIn strategy need to be. And this was interesting because I have a pet hate to direct hard sales. I don't like that. And I think that's where Outsell really understood what it is that I'm trying to do, because I don't want to just invite someone and then start selling. I wanted to build a relationship, and that's where Outsell really supported in terms of creating a strategy to make that happen for me. Otherwise, I would have pulled back from LinkedIn. So it was the content plan. It was the outreach plan to gain connections based on our ICP, which was also new to me. And then I think what also happened was a revamp of the website, because the website spoke to agnostic clientele, not just manufacturing. And at the moment, I think the website still says tech and manufacturing, but that's because I need slow transition. But that we're definitely getting there. And then also what we did, which I don't know how to do, but because of Outsell's knowledge around it, is we started doing A/B testing on pay-per-click campaigns, and eventually realized that it's not so great. So we actually canned it for our type of industry, but it was good to have that testing and have the data and then make decisions based on that. And yeah, so I think in terms of taking that strategy and taking that further, then we looked at what type of associations they are. We looked at other forms of outbound marketing, which is PR, like public relations, and actually getting someone to get me in front of the right crowd. So at the moment, it's manufacturing podcast, going to conferences and speaking at manufacturing conferences, radio interviews, all of those things. So it's a full-on PR function aimed looking at the ICP of manufacturing. And what else is there? I don't know if this is going to be useful, but just purely building my personal confidence in owning the space of putting the brand out there.
No, I think that's really important, actually. Cool. Thank you. That was really good. We're nearly done. Let me just look at the last one. So in terms of results, they can either be quantifiable or not, but perhaps you could just kind of list what's been the results that you've been seeing from all of this work. So perhaps what's been your revenue growth since you started working with Outsell last year?
So if I look from a revenue perspective, we grew with 40% in revenue from last year to this year.
And your target for this year?
To grow is probably another 45%.
And that's purely, and your only real customer acquisition strategy is outbound sales and referrals. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. And I think also what has happened because of the strategy of implementing PR, which I never would have done, just because I was too shy, but that has again gained a lot of local awareness because of local radio interviews, local podcasts. So there's been quite a lot of local awareness around that. And already there's a conference in the UK that we're speaking at. There's a conference in Atlanta in October that we're speaking at, all manufacturing. There's a few podcasts that is it's international podcasts in manufacturing. So that's not necessarily revenue, but that is what was
by building your brand.
That's building my brand, which was my initial need because I don't like the direct selling. So mine is about.
That's a critical part of outbound sales. I think it's one of the things most people don't get or understand, that almost of equal value to leads generated is the brand awareness that one gets. Okay.
So cool. So that's been really cool. And then maybe it's really nice for the ego and for pride. But what has also started happening is so many people that I engage with comment on even though they might not engage, and it feels so stupid to say this, but even though they don't engage in LinkedIn posts or they don't like it and all those things, but when they see me or when they chat to me, they comment on the amazing work that we do at Credo and how Credo is growing. So there's a very positive brand message out there, and I hear that from people that I never expected to hear it from. Which for me means if they hear about things if they speak to someone who is looking for services that we offer, most probably the first thing that comes to mind is then Credo, because of the fact that it's in their face the whole time.
Thank you. Really, really good stuff. I just want to finish off with one thing, and this is more for my own, which is kind of a key part of the case study, is really getting kind of the problem down into a couple of sentences. So the problem was there was no clear marketing strategy.
Zero.
Founder-led sales without the experience or the time or the capacity to invest in that.
Yeah.
And the third thing was trying to balance your core local market, where most of your business came from, with accessing a new market that you had identified, a new market overseas, and developing a strategy that allows you to do both of those things at the same time was critically important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And also, I guess to be seen as we're not just a little South African consultancy, we actually operate globally, and we can compete with other clever people too.
Awesome. Cool. I got to run, Linky. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.